There we go.
Hi, everybody. It's me and him. I'm Jeff. He's Voch Lombardi. What's up? We drafted him up. We're done.
There we go.
I got 9 hours of sleep and an energy drink and some water. Ready to rock.
Yeah. This was a particularly long one, but I think it's a very interesting one to talk about in terms of like Cowboys draft or whatever. And I was just saying to Jeff, off the screen or whatever, I think this is one that we can talk about for weeks because it's so much thought that goes into it. Because I had to check myself at the door, Jeff. You know what I mean? Like when I'm watching the draft, it's easy to get our emotions involved because I have a list of people I want. So when they don't get the people that I want, I get upset. But I have to reach.
That's your fault.
That's my fault. I am still
your fault.
I've only been a scout for 4 years. Foots the King is in my chat box. Foots, we're gonna do some work later. Don't worry, sir. I'm doing 3 of these today.
Oh, Foots, I will just send you an invite.
Or send Foots an invite, and Foots can jump in here as well. Foots, I just don't like to do nothing last minute with Foots because Foots be doing so much.
Oh, my favorite thing is watching Foots be in the car and then his phone dies. It's great. I love it.
Yo, Voch, I'm fixing this transmission, but I can talk.
I'm doing this favorite.
I'm doing this brain surgery, but we can chop it up. That's my fault though, Jeff. Absolutely. When I get my emotional thing going, I gotta go. You know what? We didn't get my players. Let me not hate on the guys that we did get. And the problem is, Cowboy Nation got pissed off. And as content creators too, we got to check ourselves at the door because a lot of people hinge what they think off of what they see us thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like if
That's
I get
the
up,
biggest thing.
Like if I get up and hump a chair because we got Kelvin Joseph, a motherfucker could never watch film on Kelvin Joseph, but they like Kelvin Joseph because I got up and hump a chair. Now there's a gift of me humping a chair because we got Kelvin Joseph. But if I want Marvin Wilson and they go Chauncey Golston, that don't mean Chauncey Golston's bad. I like Chauncey Golston. I just really wanted Marvin or Darius there. So I wanted to do this. I'm glad you're here with me. We're doing this together to give a full. I have slept for 2 nights on it. Thoughts and assessments of the guys that we have, and I'm not applying my Marvin Wilson or Darius Washington bias to it. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, also I think what happens is I love that Dan Quinn finally talked last night because the one thing I didn't think did the Cowboys any favors was having Mike McCarthy explain stuff about the defense. Sure. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying, and I don't think you understand what you're saying. But when you hear Dan Quinn talk about it, it makes more sense. And like we can go through it pick by pick. I didn't love Micah Parsons at 12.
Sure.
But I could explain Micah Parsons at 12 pretty easily through their eyes. Mm-hmm. If you weren't willing to take an offensive lineman at that pick, then Micah Parsons made all the sense in the world. Sure. Kelvin Joseph made all the sense in the world. But now let's play a game, okay? I've taken Micah Parsons and I've taken Kelvin Joseph. And those are my first 2 picks. So if I am the coaches or the scouts, you know what is going through my brain after those 2 picks? Hey, guys, can we be a little safer with the next ones?
Yeah. Team Toxic is back. There's this thing on my channel, Jeff. I got this thing, Team Toxic, where we took D-Law, who will cuss out media people, Randy Gregory that was smoking, Alden Smith was around or whatever. You add Parsons, you add Boss Man Fat. We're all of a sudden overnight a little more toxic than we were yesterday. So I kind of like the idea, man. This, we're washing our hands of the Garrett guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then you watch the pendulum swing, right? Yeah. And I think it's the plan is you got to the 3rd round, and now that we've heard Dan Quinn talk,
yes, Dan
Quinn is telling us, yeah, we'll probably be 3-4-ish in our base defense. Sure. But obviously in nickel it's a 4-2. So, and you play nickel more than you play base. So he's looking for dudes that could line up at multiple spots, right? And Odigiezuwa, when you got 4 down linemen, 3 technique. When you got 3 down linemen, end. Mm-hmm. And he's good. Like he's a stout dude. Yep. That was my thing about Odigiezuwa and Chauncey Golston. Right. Did I have them around later? Mm-hmm. But they were guys that I had around later. This is the fun part to me, who as you're reading through your notes, you're like, the notes are all good. Yeah. Like I want those dudes on my team. So if you just forget for a minute or pretend that you picked them 10 to 20 picks later, I'm glad you have them. Because Chauncey Golston is a power play and end that is going to be good against the run immediately. And as a pass rusher, like I don't think he's ever going to be a Pro Bowler or whatever, but Chauncey Golston is a dude that can rush with power and can manhandle dudes. Odigiezuwa is the same thing. He's 280 pounds. He plays like a damn nose tackle, but he's a good athlete. Yeah. So there's upside for the pass rush. So through 4 picks, I'm not mad at him. Yeah. I would have said little early on 2 of them, but I also would have told him high five on taking Boss Man Fat because I didn't know if they would do that. So, where it's like you missed your top 2 corners, and I'm like, okay, which really safe cover 3 guy are they going to take? Yeah. And the answer was nope. Nobody. We're taking the best dude. Yeah. And they took Kelvin Joseph. So I love that. Parsons is fine, but there's an element of boomer bust to both of them. There's no boomer bust to Odigiezuwa or Golston. I know what they're going to be. Sure. I really do. Sure. I know exactly what they're going to be. And then you just keep cruising along through the draft.
So, listening to Dan talk or whatnot, I walked away thinking, okay, at least Dan has a plan here. You know what I mean? Like Dan has an idea about where everybody fits. And maybe that's the difference between what we've been having, because you know how like Dorrance is just on the team, but Dorrance is like around, but Dorrance ain't really got a role. He just behind D-Law. You know what I'm saying? I can straight up foresee, okay, if Randy doesn't play all of the rundowns, I can see Deshaun Golston and D-Law being like run dudes and Odigiezuwa in there somewhere. Tristan may not be around on rundowns, but then when it's like pass downs, you can see Tristan somewhere at one tech, Randy and some other, you know what I mean? Like Bradley over there or something like that. Like I feel like everybody has their own thing. Let me hate on Cowboy fans for a second because, you know.
Voch.
Oh, fuck him, Jeff. Fuck him.
Wow, Voch, sir.
Fuck him. We walked into this thing saying, you know what, we need to get better at run defense. We get all people that's better at that fixes run defense.
Parsons fixes it. Golston fixes it. Odigiezuwa fixes it. Bohannon fixes it.
Everybody but Cox and the receiver fix run defense. Yeah. Right? But somehow we get pissed off, right? Or just defense in general, let's just say. But somehow we get pissed off when we're picking guys, right? And these be Cowboy fans that probably never even seen film on Osa Odigiezuwa. I hadn't even seen film on him.
That's why we have to own it. Like I was talking about this on when we were doing the draft broadcast. People get, and you already said this, but people get so mad because they see me, you, Broadus, Dane. Yeah. Like we watch and we rank the players. So if they don't come off in our order, then to Cowboy fans, it's immediately a bad pick. Yeah. And you've got to do this combination where it's like, okay, we have to understand that coaches will be involved in the drafting, that they will have potentially a plan for how they want this to look. Like my draft board is not a Cowboys draft board. Sure. It is generic team. These are the players I like. These are the guys I want. And they are building their team. Now, does that mean that their picks are better than who we would have picked at that spot? No, not necessarily, because a lot of times we would have picked a better player. But you just got to process it through the lens of this is an NFL team that's trying to build their team with input from scouts and coaches and front office and all these different things. And then say, okay, did they ever pick like a bad player where you're like, that ain't going to work? Right. Number 99 is going to be the one where they're going to get killed. Nashawn Wright. Yeah. And if you watch him, like I actually did the responsible thing for once in my life. He got picked and I said, never heard of him. Yep. And they were like, oh, so it's a bad pick? And I'm like, can't say that. Never seen him. Yep. I went and watched him and I was like, okay, would I have taken him over Melifon or Elijah Molden? No. But would I have taken him in the next round? Maybe. Sure. Like he's fun. He's got some good traits, but you know, so I'm not killing them for that one. I don't think they had a great draft. I think they had a boomer bust draft because I think there's an element of boomer bust to Parsons. There's an element of boomer bust to Boss Man Fat. At 99, you picked sort of a tools guy that you're hoping to develop. So there's a lot of boomer bust, but I'm not going to kill him. I know it's early, but you want to run through supers? We got supers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Human being. This draft felt like best traits available over BPA. Lots of boomer bust. I agree with that 100%, and I appreciate you. Formula's always in this mofo. What are your thoughts on Bohanna, and will he make the team, you think?
We're going to talk about everybody. we're gonna break down all these dudes, man. We're gonna give thoughts and opinions on everybody. But
flip a coin on if he makes a team. Flip a coin. We'll see.
Sure.
But I think he will, and I'll tell you why later. We them boys, sure. When Smith or Collins are injured this season, I'm gonna be mad at passing on Slater. Yeah, but when you get rid of both Jalen and LVE.
What about when Van Der Esch get hurt? Right.
You're going to be super happy because you're going to save money and you're going to get better at linebacker.
Yeah.
Who did I miss? Oh, for the pizza fund. Zeus, I appreciate you. I don't know when I'm buying pizza, but I do. I always need pizza. Mm-hmm. F them, Jeff.
Fuck them. Just like that.
And Ruben, who do you think we're going to pick up on the guys that didn't get drafted? I'm happy with this draft. Here's the new defense. Making the move aside on the Jason Garrett guys. Yeah, Garrett guys is out the window, baby.
Yeah.
Garrett guys is gone. Yeah. I wish we would have got our Darius Washington and Marvin Wilson, but the Cowboys weren't that interested in them, obviously.
Yeah.
And Super Chat Astro, we got dogs in this draft. Rabid dogs, but yeah, one of them I don't want to talk about until I know more about him personally and what he's done since he was accused of what he was accused of.
Yeah.
Because otherwise my response would be fuck him.
Fuck him.
So I don't want to say that. Sure. Until I know. All I know is his answer that he gave to us on the radio, where he's like, oh, it's in the past, everybody's moved on. And I'm like, that ain't a good enough answer for domestic violence. The right answer is, well, I can't talk about it for this legal reason. And I want to share with everybody my growth as a human and why I've gotten so much better, and that'll never happen again. Like, that's what I want to hear, not we've all moved on. So I reserve the right to say fuck them, but we'll see.
I was live streaming and I saw you like tweeting or whatever, because I am a fan of yours, Jeff. I mean, like, we peers and I talk shit to you or whatever and like make you feel bad or whatever, but like, I'm actually a fan of yours. So I haven't watched the broadcast yet, but I saw you tweet and you was like, hey man, fuck that dude. Like, you ain't say, hey man, fuck that dude, but it was basically, I didn't like that answer. Fuck. I'm like, what did he say? I'm like, what did he say?
But Dave asked him about, hey, you're top 100 talent, and this is the offensive tackle the Cowboys drafted. Top 100 talent went later than that. And his answer to like, oh yeah, like Dave gave him the opportunity to say whatever he wanted about why you dropped and what was that like, and he said, well, the past is the past and we've all moved on, so I'm just worried about football. And I was like, fuck, that does not work.
Jeff,
that don't work.
Jeff, that motherfucker say my feet good, I got long arms, and I watch Tyron Smith. But what about this thing we asked you about?
Hey, what about the trauma you caused to a victim who probably has to have therapy? We've all moved on. I'm not really worried about that. And I was just like, screw you. It was funny seeing how Jeff reacted when Ball called into the show. Yeah, I just leaned back. I said, I have no questions for him. I didn't talk. And Clayton, I really like the kid from SC and wide receivers from State. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We will talk about that. I got some supers over here. Brother Naeem dropped a dub in here. He says, I still have faith in Will McClay. Indeed, we have to. We ain't got no other choice, player. Foots the King dropped a dime in the super chat, says, fellas, I'm just going to watch and enjoy. Both of you did amazing work this weekend. Respect, fellas.
Then let me remove your window. Since you don't have a camera on, it looks like Foots, but you're in the room. I'll just leave it until he has a camera on, if he puts a camera on.
As I'm reading his super chat saying he's just going to watch. And then Zeus came over here and dropped a 5 in the super chat, says, for the culture, my guy. Let me just kind of backtrack a little bit too, though, Jeff. Because I don't want people to get me mistaken. I don't want people to think that I'm backpedaling on my original take just because Parsons is a Cowboy now. I still don't think that it's ideal that you take linebacker in the top, like top like that. I still think that there are linebackers better than him. I greatly feel like we should have got Rashawn Slater, but the motherfucker on the team now. You know what I'm saying? So now that he's on the team, we have to talk about what he does. Foot's in the car. Of course he's in the car.
Of course he's in the car, and he has bad Wi-Fi. Oh God, Foots, go home.
Hey, I know. Can you guys hear me?
No, we can't hear you. What you say?
Hear me? I just got out of church. Can y'all hear me?
No, I can't hear you that you just got out of church. What you say?
No, I just want to tell you guys thank you, man. I just want to tell y'all thank you, man. Y'all did a great job this weekend on a public forum. You guys killed it. And I think if everybody wants answers, just go check out Dan Quinn's press conference. But Voch, Jeff, all the creators this weekend, like Jeff, you destroyed the .com series, and Voch, you was just sharp, man. You had like 3 TVs up. So I just want to show love on a public forum, man. Like, that's awesome. I'm gonna hang up, listen. I want to be a fan today because I'm tired as crap. I had to play today, so I'm tired. But you guys. Y'all are literally goated, bro. This Scoutcast thing, Y'all gotta brand that now before somebody steals it.
Love you, Foots. Thank you. You're a beast.
I'm out, guys. Peace.
If anybody steals Scoutkast, they getting their ass shot. Appreciate it.
Love y'all more. Love y'all.
All right, you can't, Voch. You can't say that while it's on live. Like, this is, people can go see this. I'm
gonna shoot the shit out somebody that steals Scoutkast.
You can't do that.
I say what the fuck I want, man. And so now that we got Parsons on the team, because I am a professional, we get right back to what we were saying. So now that we got him on the team, we're not looking at him as a prospect anymore. We're just looking at him, okay, he's a linebacker on our team. How does he help us? And some people were looking at like it was a terrible pick just because we wanted Slater. It wasn't like we like you would think that we picked Russo with the response that the damn or like a Darius Hayward Bay type pick with the response. We can use Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons could be, if he reaches his peak or whatever, he could be the best motherfucking linebacker in the league if he reaches his potential. He could be one of them dudes. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta wait and see, man. But
it was, that was partially my fault, because I think every time somebody was like, hey, what's the nightmare scenario at number 10, I would end up at Parsons, because I'm like, well, it would be if you had like Sewell or Slater or Horn or Surtain and you ended up with Parsons. What made it palatable is the trade back. The fact that you moved back, that you got an extra 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
So instead of Micah Parsons at 10, you have Micah Parsons and let's see, what pick was that? Chauncey Golson? Mm-hmm. Was that? Okay. So now I have maybe my 3rd defensive end for 4 years on the cheap plus the linebacker. The one thing you got to understand about Parsons, and like this is the times when I get angry when but I would never say fuck him like Voch does when he's so mean to everybody that's watching right now.
100%.
What gets me mad at people is when they pretend like you don't know the player. You're like, I talk about Micah Parsons and I'm like, no, he's just raw, like there's a lot that he's got to learn. And people are like, he's not raw, he was the best linebacker in the country. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
We have
Micah Parsons on the phone. And I'm like, hey, what's the best part of your game? And he's like, oh, yeah, see-ball, hit ball. And I'm like, what do you have to work on? And he's like, well, I'm just super raw. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm a dumbass for calling the dude raw. But that dude just said to your face, I'm incredibly raw. Like, I've never gotten to play one position. I still have to learn the coverage stuff. Like, Micah Parsons is a freaking demon. He's a freak show coming forward. Yep. That's what he is. There's freelance and there's just run. He said it. He called himself the water boy. Yeah. He said, see ball, hit ball, like the water boy. So, yeah, there's going to have to be growth. If he wants to be an all-pro, it's either going to be a lot of rushing the quarterback and having tackles for loss and sacks, or it's going to be developing the part of the game where you're dropping back.
Sure.
The beauty of it was that you also got Jabril Cox. So if you put 4 linebackers on the field, Jalen outside, Parsons outside, LVE and Jabril Cox in the middle. Now you got your 2 attackers in the attack role, and you got your 2 droppers in the drop role. Like, they're building something where it's like, I'm almost like, damn, they have too many dudes on defense. Like, how are all these guys going to get on the field? Like, maybe it's not even marriage. Maybe it's Keanu Neal and Jabril Cox in the middle. But get ready, because LVE and Jalen, they're on notice.
Yeah.
This is going to be LVE's last year. I don't think they're going to pick up his 5th-year option. That's my guess. And Jalen, try your best, because I think they're looking at your wallet too. And like, hey, you guys know there's a salary cap, right? We got some guys now.
Just looking at the list right now, we got Parsons, Jalen Smith, and our lads. They're a website that I go to look at like depth charts and shit. Our lads got Parsons starting at Mike over Van Der Esch, which is interesting.
Well, you better play. You're top 12 pick. You're playing somewhere.
There you go. So Parsons, Jalen, Keanu Neal, Van Der Esch, Francis Bernard, Jabril Cox. They got Terrell Basham listed as a linebacker, so possibly Luke Gifford. I forgot about the Kansas kid last year, Azur Kamara. You know what I'm saying?
Don't worry about it, because he's not a thing. I mean, if you're going to, like, Luke Gifford and Francis Bernard are ahead of him, and by the time you get to the end of Luke Gifford and Francis Bernard, you're at like linebackers 6 and 7. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I like that we filled the linebacker room and we filled the cornerback room. You know what I mean? So I think Boss Man Fat and Diggs are going to be your 1 and 2 guys. And once again, Once again, Jordan Lewis and AB going to be fighting for the nickel dude. But now guys like Savion Smith are on notice. I don't know if Chris Westry on the team still, whatever. But just,
I don't think he is.
Probably not. But just those like Maurice candidate guys or whatever.
Rashad Robinson.
Y'all got to fight.
y'all
got to fight for y'all right to party, man. And we can't pretend like fifth corners ain't important because we saw like 9 corners play last year. You know what I mean? So you need all them dudes, man. You need them all.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Tyler Woods dropping a 5 in the super chat. I love what Dan Quinn said last night. Parsons and Cox on the field will be legit. Now, Jeff, I hit you up that the night of day 1, and I was like, I would get JOK anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just because I want multiple linebackers, and we don't know what linebacker is going to look like next year. Plus, I would really like to have a coverage guy. Well, we ended up getting, in my opinion, who's like a second, third round talent in Jabril Cox. We got that boy in the 4th. Or whatever, so that's outstanding value for him. Jeff, you want to tell the people about Jabril Cox being one of the best coverage linebackers in the draft?
Yeah, I think if you want to talk about like Micah Parsons' weakness would be coverage, because Micah Parsons, and that doesn't have to be the case forever because he has the physical tools to be incredible at it, right? But Micah Parsons at the moment is an attack and go linebacker. So I believe what you got in the draft is the best run linebacker and pass rush linebacker, and then you got the best coverage linebacker. So it's 2 different people, but Jabril Cox, I mean, he's covering tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, whatever, all season at the Senior Bowl. That dude can cover. He sucks against the run. I hope that he develops that part, just like I hope that Parsons develops the coverage part. But you got the best coverage linebacker and the best attacking linebacker in the draft. So, you know, as you're going through this thing, that's why there's so much balance after a draft, other than their draft sucked and theirs was good. Yeah. The concerning part about the Cowboys draft is, if you really get into the nerd stuff of the draft, which I do,
sure,
the consensus board, which just takes like rankings from every person who does rankings and slaps it together. That board actually does about as well as NFL teams at predicting the success of NFL players, which is wild. And according to that, because you, quote, reached at 99, and I'm trying to think where else, like the Cowboys are going to come out of here and they're going to say the Cowboys had in the bottom third of the league in terms of who they drafted because they picked guys that weren't ranked this high. And is it interesting? Yes. Does it matter? No. Right. What matters is, can the guys play? Do they have a plan for them? And how does that work out? I want to shout out Nels Buck on the super chat. He said, I only watched a small amount, but I'm excited about Simi Fihoko, strengths and weaknesses. Big receiver, runs fast, demon on special teams. Don't really know what he's doing as a wide receiver yet.
Yep.
Chase, shout out to you in the super chat. Pick with the most upside to be an all-pro. Micah Parsons, Boss Man Fat. Pick one of the 2. And Clayton, shout out. He said, what is the depth chart at linebacker for now? There's lots of dudes.
We don't know. And look, that's the whole thing. Like, we don't have
compete. That's the depth chart. Earn it.
There's no precedent for what Dan Quinn's gonna do here. We have no clue what he's gonna do here. Like, we can't look at last year and be like, oh, he's gonna do that. So we just gotta wait till training camp for real. Jeff, what I wanted to do, well, real fast, Tyler Woods, shouts out to Ryokashay, my guy Josh, man, what's up? He dropped 5 in the super chat and says, what do y'all think about Cox moving to strong safety? I don't see it, but
I don't see it either. I mean, you got so many options at stuff like that, though. But that is the fun part, is you can do so many different things now. If you wanted to, could Jabril Cox play safety? Sure, he covers well enough for sure. Yeah. Could Keanu Neal move back to safety? Sure, he's played it his whole career. Like, they got a bunch of linebackers, and multiples of them can cover. Soto, man, appreciate you. He said, who's on the NASCAR rush package now? Tank, Gregory, Parsons rushing from the middle. Jalen probably rushing outside or something. Yeah, I need to find another. Maybe you put Odigiezuwa at the 1, 280-pound 1 technique. Tank, Gregory, Parsons. That's who I'd send.
Okay, so let's talk about this, Jeff. Okay, so let's kind of go over the third round guys to kind of talk people off the ledge if they're on the ledge. Odigiezuwa, right? He's a guy that. So I first saw him in the Senior Bowl, and he was kind of running down the middle of people, and I was like, oh, that dude's a 1 tech, right? Because he just kind of He played like a one tech for. I didn't know that he was small. I didn't know that he was 280. You know what I mean? Because
that's to me that's the best part about him. I went in watching a defensive tackle, and I thought, holy cow, you can't move this dude, and he's 280 pounds.
Yeah, but he's more of a 3 tech, which is interesting because now that puts Tristan and Neville on notice or whatever. So.
But he's also a 5 tech, depending on how many down linemen you have.
He is a very Tyrone Crawford type gentleman, you know what I mean? And that's what people are saying, but that's basically what he is. And when we were watching him in the Senior Bowl or whatever, he just kind of played in all those spots. But when you go watch the film, they were 2-gapping him a bunch, and which he's fine 2-gapping or whatever. I'm gonna drop some film at some point. He's fine 2-gapping, but I think he'll be really incredible, just like how you would use Neville, just like how you would use Tristan, just getting in B gap, busting ass upfield. And I think he's probably going to do a lot of that on this team. So Jeff, like, talk people off the ledge. Talk people off the Odigiezuwa ledge, because I think people think that he sucks because they never heard of him, but I think he can play for real, like violent hands, plays in all different spots, and I don't think that he's reached his potential of what he can be as a D tackle.
Yeah, he's a dude that in 3 years never lost a wrestling match in high school, I think. He's a 3-time state champion. Like, he's a monster. He's a dude that is I had him a little bit later just because the body type, like, I had him as a 4th-round guy. And the reason is because at 280 pounds, when the best part of your game is kind of the nose tackle stuff, just being stout, it throws me off a little bit. But when I go through my notes on Odigiezuwa and then you factor in his athletic testing, what it turns out that he's more stout than Tristan Hill or Neville Gallimore. And he has the athletic tools to turn into a pass rusher.
Yes.
So, like, he offers versatility. So, like, the Odigiezuwa pick, we are not going to look back and say that was a bad pick. It's not going to happen. You might look back if you could pull back up who was available and say, oh, man, they could have had this guy. Like, that's fine. If you want to guess, like, man, I really would have liked this guy. You're not going to look back and say that was a bad pick. It's not going to happen. And sometimes in the draft, that's incredibly valuable. Like, you could look back at Parsons or Joseph and be like, shouldn't have done that, depending on how their careers go. I don't think that's going to happen with Odigiezuwa. Safe.
Plus, I mean, he's, he'll help you in the run game, just like we've been trying to get help. But look though, Jeff, there was this comment, Jay Webb in my chat box, right? Small, aka light in the ass. Yes, light in the ass. But for him to be 280 and can play 1 tech gives you like that idea of like what he is, but he's a thick ass dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how he's 280, but what I'm trying to project to you was I saw him playing 1 tech and he looked like a 1 tech, but he's fucking 280. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, so he is the most stout 280 pound prospect I've ever studied.
Yes.
Like, you say 280 means that you can't mix it up or whatever. Osa, and he's not going to play 1 technique in the NFL unless it's like a pass rush down maybe. But I tell you this, he could. Yeah. Like, he is 280 pounds of I ain't moving. Yeah. And it's really surprising to see a guy at that weight that you can't move, but you can't, because he's shorter and has the long arms and has the best wrestling background in the country. Like, he knows what he's doing. He plays the leverage game. He's got the length. He's low to the ground. Like, you will not regret the Odigiezuwa pick. GJL Reed, appreciate you in the super chat. I feel like missing out on the cornerback in the first had a big impact on the rest of the draft. Could have had Bolton and Cox as our picks with Horn/Surtain. Yeah, they wanted a corner. And that's the other thing about the Cowboys is they will lie to you. Like, they're going to pretend that it was no big deal and that they wanted Parsons all along. That they're making that up. They did want one of the corners at the top. This might work out even better because they were the team that took a guy who might be better than the top corners at 44. It might work out better. I was terrified of it because I didn't think they'd take Kelvin Joseph. I didn't think they would.
I don't know, dog. JC nice, man. Like, I love
JC is nice.
The only player I love more than Kelvin at cornerback is JC, but we got boss, man. So it,
But you're also talking 8 versus 44.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And like, I liked Nick Bolton, and you could have gone like, yeah, I guess. Would you rather have JC Horn and Nick Bolton?
Damn.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. Because Bolden is my higher rated linebacker and JC is my higher rated corner. Yeah. I'm just a fan more of Boss Man Fat, but JC is the better player. Yeah. Okay. And Bolden also, in my opinion, is the better player. So
okay. Because I think technically on rankings, I would have to say so too. But now that we're here, I'm like, man, Micah Parsons physically
they different, Jeff. We would use Parsons differently than we would use Bolden. You see what I'm saying? So. Yeah,
Bolden would be your mic. You would just plug him in and be like, you're the mic for the next, 10 years. Whereas with Parsons, it's like, all right, how much are we going to send you on the blitz? How many tackles for loss? How many forced fumbles are we going to get? Like, it's very different, but I'll take it.
With Bolden, if you have Bolden, Van Der Esch's job ain't safe. Now that you got Parsons, Jalen's job ain't safe. You might actually keep Van Der Esch now.
I tell you what. I think in 12 months, your starting linebackers are Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox. Like, I think they're going to say no to Van Der Esch's 5th-year option. And at the end of this season, they're going to look at Jalen's contract and be like, can we save money here? Sweet. Let's save money here. And you're going to go young. And this is part of it. When you pay the quarterback, that's the other thing about this draft. And I think Stephen Jones kind of outright mentioned it at some point. Up to 8 of these rookies could make the roster, maybe even 9.
Sure.
Because the Cowboys' goal is to have rookies take veterans' jobs. They want them to because they want to save as much money as possible because their quarterback is now paid. They are trying to get as much cheap labor as possible. That's why they made 11 picks. If I had to guess, I would say 7 will make the roster, but they would rather it be 8 or 9, and we'll see.
So let's play then, right? So Parsons is safe, Boss Man is safe. Let's say Odigiezuwa. Does he push guys like Justin Hamilton off the field?
Yes, I think Odigiezuwa is going to take snaps from Tristan Hill and Neville Gallimore. That's how much I like him as a player. I think he's absolutely going to take snaps at the 3 technique and play at. He might be your best fit for the 5 technique when you go 3 down linemen. He might be the best fit on the roster to be one of those guys.
Sure. Does Chauncey Golston? I think he's better than Dorrance right now, but I'm asking you, does he take away from like Rondell Carter and Dorrance Armstrong?
Yes, and Bradley and I think Golston to me is a better prospect and as a rookie might be a better player than either Armstrong or Anai. Like Anai is a more natural pass rusher probably, but Golston is a more stout player. I think Golston with the length and the power, yes, he takes snaps. He may become Tank Gregory. You have Anai and Dorrance. I'm missing somebody, aren't I? Defensive ends?
Tank, Gregory, Bradley, and Ladarius Hamilton, Rondell Carter, Carlos Watkins getting cut. Dorrance Armstrong, they got Brent Urban as a
Basham, although I guess they're calling Basham. So I think Golston, I think there's a decent chance he's DN3.
Possibly, but I don't want to sleep on Bradley though because it's just something about an off season that just makes people better out of nowhere. So and
he was our darling anyway. We wanted him to play last year.
Sure. So fair. I have a Bradley and I bias, so we'll see. Let's go down the list. So I think Dan Quinn is going to grandfather Noshawn right into his situation or whatever, into his spot. So can he take the job of Rashad Robertson? Can he take Savion? You know what I'm saying? Savion Smith's job.
I think he could be gifted their spots.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? As cornerback 5 or 6 that you keep on the 53 because you don't want to run him through waivers because he was a 3rd-round pick. I will say I don't think that Wright contributes much as a rookie. That's my guess.
I agree, but this is my whole thing. If Dan has a plan for him, Savion could be better, but if Dan has
Savion ain't playing either.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's the thing is the tall guys that they picked when we get to the 7th round, they're going to try him at safety. But Wright, the weird thing is like they're talking about how we want all this length and we want all this, and I'm like, right, but at 50 or at 44, you just picked the best player, and he is not the things that you picked later. So like your starters are Diggs and Joseph, Brown versus Lewis. And these other dudes, unless somebody gets hurt, are watching. But if somebody gets hurt, I would think Brown or Lewis would just kick outside. Yeah. And I think your depth chart is 4 corners deep and then developmental, and we'll see what happens with Reggie Robinson versus Wright.
Sure. Sure. We're gonna rewind and talk about ghosting in a minute, but so let's just touch on the offensive lineman. Just as the player, we haven't said fuck him yet, but we real close to saying fuck him. But as a player, he's pushing the Mexico kid out the way. That sounds bad, but he's from Mexico.
I think he's pushing Steele out of the way. I think he's pushing Knight out of the way. I think, in theory, if you're just going on talent alone, he's a top 100 pick. So yeah. I think there's a decent chance that Ball is behind Nseki developing as the swing tackle.
I think Brandon Knight gets pushed off the bridge because I don't. First of all,
I think Brandon Knight is pushed to the interior. I think he's a backup guard, and does he make the roster?
I don't think they like him anyway because they for some reason they just wanted to start a Terrence Steele over him anyway last year for some reason. So maybe they just don't like his ass anyway. Where does the wide receiver fit? Semi Fihoku?
I think he makes the roster. So here's the fun part about getting to interview the guys after they get picked it's when you hear Parsons get interviewed, like he's kind of like those. Is that my sound? It don't matter.
That's me.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit?
We content creators. Don't worry about it. Go ahead. That's me.
When you talk to those guys, you go, okay, that is the dudes that they know the value of. Coach is going to love me.
Yeah.
Like Fahoku, what he's going to do is he's going to run down on kickoff.
Yep.
He's going to be a gunner on the punt team.
Yep.
He's going to try to block kicks.
Yep.
And he's going to be your
CJ Goodwin,
sixth receiver on the roster. And he's going to make his living as a special teamer, at least initially. Like, he's got 4.4 speed, and he's a big old receiver, and he can be a downfield threat. I don't know how many reps he'll get on the field doing that, but that's what you're trying to develop is that guy. He's a special teamer and a monster at it.
I have Illuminati theory that Cedric Wilson may get cut soon because
why wouldn't it be Noah?
Well, see. This is my nonsense theory. I was watching the Michael Parsons Jerry Jones conference or whatever.
Oh, the numbers,
the whole number thing, and Jerry Jones like, what negotiation? So that's some powerful shit right there. So if what's his face don't want to come up off the number.
Oh, he already did. Cedric changed his number on Twitter that day to 16.
Fuck him. There it is. So it is. That's the end of my Illuminati theory.
Yeah, he's 16. By the way, Matthew, I appreciate the super chat. Live in Iowa, grew up in Allen, Texas. Me too. Go Eagles. Where'd you have Golston ranked pre-draft? Go Hawkeyes. Any Allen guys in the draft? Levi Onwuzurike is from Allen. I had Golston in the 4th round, and he went in the 3rd. And that's cool, though, because he was a guy in the 4th round that I wrote that was like super high floor. I don't think he has a high ceiling as a pass rusher because he's not a twitched up sort of dude, but he is a safe pick. And I appreciate you, Mike Marino, in the super chat, JJH in the super chat. I'm caught up.
I have a very nuanced draft question for you, Jeff.
Who's our backup free safety to Kazee from GJL Reed?
Donovan.
Hell if we know. Maybe the 7th round pick.
Donovan. As I was watching the draft, Jeff, and I was just sulking in my own pissed off we not getting Marvin Wilson water, right? I started to notice how the board was going. Like, Dallas was drafting kind of weird, but I feel like everybody was drafting kind of weird. So if you look at Dallas's board and you take away the injury guys, you take away the whatever guys that they don't want or whatever, and you take away the they don't fit us guys, do you think that there weren't many 1st round grades, a gang of 2nd round grades, but we got caught in this situation where we didn't have a bunch of 3rd round grades, but a lot of 4th round grades. So we just ended up taking a bunch of 4th round dudes. And I thought that was us, but when you look at the overall everybody draft board, you see a handful of picks that we would have liked, but a gang of 4th round dudes were taken in the 3rd round.
I think it's possible. Now, I think what happened on a lot of Cowboy picks, actually, this will be an exclusive. Just don't tell anybody that I know things and that I shared things with anybody that's listening, okay? At 99, in the room, if you asked the people who scout the players, that pick was going to be Baron Browning or Jabril Cox. That was going to be that pick. But they let the DC make the pick. The DC took Nashawn Wright. That's why on day 3, when Jabril Cox was still going, when the round started, I said, Jabril Cox. If he makes it, Jabril Cox. Because I know who people in that room wanted at 99. And outside of the coach, it was Cox and Browning. And then Browning came off the board real quick, and it was like, all right, watch Cox. And when Cox got there, he was going to be the guy because that's who that scouts wanted. So they had him higher than a 4, Jabril Cox. Yeah. And he's the one that saved it.
Yeah.
Where you're like, okay, Wright is a reach here. And then later you go, oh, crap. Cox, I mean, I could have seen him going in the top 50 or 60, and you got him at 138. Like that is the one that kind of balanced the scales back out, where I just told people, pretend it went the other way, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I'm trying to get free concert tickets. So this singer is calling me right now. I'm going to mute my mic and then you talk. Mojo, shout out Mojo for the super chat. I'm going to mute everybody. I'll be back. Got Casey Donahue's calling. Name drop. Hold on.
Oh, Hollywood Jeff. Rough. But yeah, basically everybody, and I have no problem taking this thing over. Shouts out to Jeff's crowd. Shouts out to mine. What I think we have to do is we just have to dial our thoughts and emotions back on this thing, because I had to do the same thing. I'll never tell y'all to do something I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? So what I had to do was I had to go, okay, it's not about what they can do, but what can they do, right? So we can look at Chauncey Golston as a guy that we reached for. Because to be fair, in my mind, we did. Let me just give full transparency. Michael Parsons wasn't ideal. I wanted Slater. Boss Man Fat was ideal as fuck. Good to have him. Odigiezuwa, I think, fits right up in that range or whatever. I would have wanted somebody different, but I had to dial my shit back too, because I would have took Marvin Wilson right there. Nobody damn took Marvin Wilson. You know what I mean? Nobody took D tackle for real until like the 5th round or something like that. And Marvin didn't get drafted at all. Or Darius didn't get drafted at all. So all this I would have drafted those people mean nothing, because those people that we would have drafted didn't even get drafted. You know what I mean? So I think we kind of reach for a lot of these guys, but if we have a plan, because draft is over, so we're not looking at value anymore. As long as we got the people, what do they do for us? Do they fix our defense? Do they fix our run defense? Hell yeah, they do. So as long as we got the improvements, the value part about it is over. That's like saying, oh, I was the top 5 ranked in my high school. Well, when you get to the real world, that shit don't matter, and draft position doesn't matter once you get to the league. It's what can you do for me? Jeff, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Hi.
There you go, sir.
Yeah, got hooked up. I'm good.
Hollywood Jeff shit, boy. Must be
so it's a guy that plays Texas country music, and a buddy of mine is a super fan, him and his wife, and he texted me this morning, and he's like, hey, he plays today. Can you get me tickets? It's sold out. And I'm like, okay, this is late notice, but I'll text him and see. And he called me, and he said, yeah, I got you. We're good.
Privileged Jeff.
Super chat from Patrick. Why do you think JOK fell so far? Medical. You want another exclusive?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Just don't tell nobody. Tweet this or anything. Nobody tell anybody about the shit I tell you.
I got 994 people watching. We ain't gonna say a thing.
I got 915, so you're beating me.
But we lit today. Go ahead.
But we are lit. What happened with him is this non-combine year screwed so many people.
Yeah.
Because teams couldn't get medical information. JOK might not have anything medically wrong, but my understanding is teams were waiting on a cardiac test.
And they couldn't get it.
So they had heart questions and they didn't have all the information. So I don't know what that test reveals, but teams didn't have it yet. And so they were like, oh, well, he might have a heart thing? So that's what happened to JOK. And the Traveling Man Talk Show, one wish, the Joneses let Will McClay pick all the picks in one draft. Yeah, that'd be nice. But
I also think too, though, Jeff, like it was kind of weird that the good drafting teams drafted kind of weird this year, and the bad drafting teams was killing the shit. I just noticed that.
I mean, the Eagles picked great.
Yeah.
Chicago was great.
Chicago did well. Yeah, and like
Baltimore always does well. I thought they did pretty well. They always do well, though.
Baltimore got Owe in the first round. I was like,
Baltimore got our Darius Washington after the draft. They won.
Yeah, 100%.
They won.
Cleveland's killing the shit, Jeff.
Cleveland killed the draft, and they got Marvin Wilson. Now, here's the good news about our guy Marvin. Our guy Marvin got more guaranteed money than anybody not picked 190 or earlier. So there's like 70 dudes that got drafted that don't get to pick where they go and are going to get less money than our guy Marvin. So good for him.
And that's what I was wondering. Well, that's what I was hoping, because by the time I got to the 5th round, I was just telling my audience, yo, it's clear that Marvin ain't getting drafted. You know what I'm saying? Because of medicals probably. So all we can do is hope that he goes undrafted and Jerry Jones write the big ass check. But pre-draft, I thought we was enamored with Marvin Wilson. So I just wonder why our check wasn't bigger than the Browns check.
Yeah, and I bet, you know what? I would guess, this one I don't know, but I would guess that's a Marvin decision. I think because I think for him, it's check the depth chart. Cleveland ain't real good at defensive tackle. They've got a spot.
Yeah.
Here, you got the guy you drafted in the 3rd round, plus Hill and Gallimore, plus Antoine Woods got his contract, plus you brought in Brent Urban. And so you might look at that roster and be like, shit, undrafted. They got nothing invested in me. I don't know. Like, I'm going to go to Cleveland. So he's going to go to Cleveland and win the Super Bowl.
Man, look. We got some names at tackle, but dang, but he can beat them all. So shit, it is what it is.
The only problem is that teams don't let you. You don't get to earn your spot as an undrafted guy when there's somebody with guaranteed money or a 3rd round pick or whatever in front of you. So hopefully he's healthy, because I agree with you. Unless that meniscus is something that was holding people up, on talent and tape, Marvin should have been gone on day 2.
How do you feel about Israel Makamua as a safety, as a free safety?
I think that is a flip a coin, throw a dart, hope for the best, because I think he's limited with change of direction. I mean, he's 6'4", you know. Sure. I think he's limited in change of direction. Both the 6'4" guys, the good news is they can track and they can play a ball in the air. Yeah. But the one thing I knew Israel the most for is he let Kyle Pitts get the most open I ever saw Kyle Pitts get, which was on a slant on the goal line, and he was open by like 11 yards. Yeah. And I was like, man, that's a lot to get beat by in this little time. And that's the thing with tall corners. Yeah. So it's safety. I think with him, my answer is just, I don't know, and we'll see.
Yeah, 100%. What else we got, Jeff? Are you familiar with any of the undrafted guys that have come out? Because I ain't. I would have to
I know that the fullback pulls semi trucks in the off season. I saw a video of the fullback. I hate this shit. And he does like that strongman competition stuff where he pulls semis. So that's neat.
So you had a story about Bohanna, right? What's his name? Quinn Bohanna or whatever.
Yeah. So the only thing I would say is I think he'll make the team even as a late round pick. Now he's one of those guys like Tyler Shelvin at LSU, where he's 330 pounds. And you're not going to see him make a tackle outside of like 8 feet from where he lined up because he just doesn't. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a 3 or 4 year starter that had 60-something tackles total in his career. Sure. So he gets like a tackle a game or 1.5. But he's one of the dudes you just can't move. Sure. He's just a space eater. So when they go 3-man line, maybe he's the guy that just lines up at the nose. But the reason I think he makes the team is just hearing Mike McCarthy when they picked him. Like, they gave the phone to McCarthy and he was like, hey, I told you you were going to be a Cowboy. So and it's like, yeah, when the coach is invested in a guy, that guy's probably going to make the team. So I could see him making the team.
But I don't want Mike McCarthy making player decisions because for some reason he thinks that Terrence Steele was better than Brandon Knight or that Darian Thompson was better than whoever the hell else we had playing safety with. I'm not here for Mike McCarthy.
You may not want it. I'm just telling you, I think he makes the team because the head coach knew he was picking him and like told him, I told you we were going to come get you.
I guess so, player. I got a few supers. 2 of them. Tyler Woods dropped 5 and says, listening to Brian Broadus, he talks about they're gonna work Parsons into Jalen's role and eventually kick Peg Leg off the field. That's mean. I did watch y'all's day 2 broadcast, and when y'all got right on the phone and they was kind of looking around like anybody got questions, Brian was pissed off at that point. Brian was like, I ain't got shit to say to this motherfucker. I got nothing.
He was mad. We went and had a beer last night after the draft to celebrate that it was over and that we could get drunk. Mm-hmm. And he was still like, they don't know what they're doing. I pick at 99. And I looked at him, I said, Brian. And he was like, what? And I said, you still haven't watched him. Yeah. And he goes, yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I'm like, you can't say that if you don't watch him. And he's like, I know. I'm watching him tonight. I'll watch him tonight.
He's not terrible. Not Sean Wright's not terrible. And what's interesting about he's 6'4" again. And when I think of 6'4" dudes, I automatically put them in cover 3 conversations until they prove me wrong. He can kind of run around a little bit. You know what I mean?
I think he's best in press man, but you can run, but you can press and run cover 3. You know, sure. You bail and you beat them up, and if they stop, you keep running. Sure. But like, yeah, you can. So I don't know. He's interesting. We'll see. I don't know how it's going to turn out with him, but he's got a little something. Like he has ball awareness. He has awareness in zone to see that there's levels in front and behind him, and to split it and know that his length can help him over the top. Like there are good things about him, and we'll see what he turns into.
Yeah.
YouTube redacted his early linebacker rankings: LVE, Neal, Parsons, Cox, Smith. Shit.
I don't think Neal's guaranteed anything here.
That's the thing, is he got like $5 million, but I don't think they knew they were about to pick Parsons, and I don't think they knew they were about to pick Jabril Cox.
Who do you roll out day one? What's your linebacker sets day one?
I think they're all going to play. It's just a matter of how. Like, I think their first time on the field, if they go 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers, then I think you'll have Parsons and Smith and LVE and Parsons, LVE, Smith, and maybe Neal, and they slow roll Cox into it.
But if they do that though, Jeff, like, where do you put Randy? Like how do you get? Like, I'm not taking Randy off the field.
That's true. You would want Randy to be one of your outside guys in that 3-4. So for now, I'll say LVE and Smith are going to play, and Parsons is going to play. But when it's time that they know they're going to have to cover, then you're going to see more Keanu Neal, and Jabril Cox will kind of, as the season goes along, get in there. But I don't know. They got a lot to do. Look, it's not impossible that they cut Jalen Smith post June 1. They might just say, we got too many and we don't need that one. Let's get rid of him. So, I would keep watching the roster.
Yeah. It will be it will be interesting. Adrian Lindsay dropped a deuce and says, my guy Grant Hermans is a New York Jet. Shouts out to you, sir. And A Boogie the Boss dropped 5 and says, Mike is still making player personnel decisions after the Terrence Steele situation. It wasn't a situation, it was a debacle. Sheesh, if you ask me, Mike McCarthy has to go. And then Kyle dropped a dub and says, no questions, just love both of y'all. Appreciate you, sir.
Hell yeah. Jeffrey said to me, best name of the draft, Cheeseman or Diablo? Cheeseman. I was stunned when there was a deep snapper named Cheeseman.
Listen, Jeff, I understand Marvin hurt, right? I understand
Marvin snappers, 3 of them.
Jeff,
3 of them.
Okay, so
3.
So I'm just a YouTuber. You're a radio guy.
They needed a long snapper.
Jeff. Jeff.
I don't know.
A motherfucker named Cheeseman can get drafted. And
a 5'10", 260-pound punter.
Jeff.
Anderson said after watching film, does Nashawn crack your top 15 corners? No, but I think I would have graded him in the mid to late 4th round, which is a lot better than like a can't draft this guy. And then Kyle did drop by and say, no questions, just love both of y'all. Thank you so much.
In my mind, Jeff, like, shouts out to the guard that we drafted or whatever.
Nebraska man.
Whatever. But how heavy is the injury concern that you can't even go, I'll spend a 7th on that dude just to lock him up so he don't go to the Browns or the Ravens or whatever. How much is a 7th worth?
Nothing.
This guard ain't making his team. This guard ain't gonna beat fucking McGovern out. He not beating them dudes out.
The 7th is for one reason. It's because you don't want to compete for him in free agency. It's a nothing pick. It's just we got him, so we don't have to negotiate an undrafted free agency. That's what the 7ths are.
Adam Redmond, Brandon Knight.
Hey, are you going to talk for another 120 seconds? Because I got to tell you, I got to go pee.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I just didn't know. I didn't know. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back.
I'm about to hate on Cheeseman for 2 minutes. A motherfucking name Cheeseman, bro. So I'm like I said, man, I'm nobody here. But as I'm watching the draft, bro, like and just like Jeff said, right, you use 7th round picks to lock guys up so you don't have to fight for them in free agency. As I'm seeing us draft some jabroni named Matt Farniok, guard from Nebraska. And to be fair, I got to watch guard from Nebraska, you know what I'm saying, just to make sure I got the player right or whatever. But I don't see guard from Nebraska. What's his name? Matt Farniok. I don't see guard from Nebraska, Mike Farniok, being better than the guys. He's not gonna be. I don't know if Looney's on the team still. Let me pull up my depth chart right now. Looney's currently a free agent, but we got Adam Redmond. They got Mitch Hyatt playing guard. Connor McGovern. Connor Williams is here, but Connor Williams will be fine. Brandon Knight can play inside. Some dude named William Sweet is on the damn team. William Sweet is almost as damn bad as goddamn Cheeseman. So in my mind, how much is your soul worth? How much is your 7th round pick? I'd have spent a 3rd on Marvin with no knee. And I don't want to be hypocritical, bro, because I understand as like wash your hands, Jeff. I understand as Cowboy fans, we get pissed off because Voch, but Voch. I don't want injured players anymore. I get that, but you mad at injured players when we draft them shits in the second. I'll take an injured player in the 5th just to lock him up. But a motherfucker named Cheeseman, a little ass punter. What the boy name again? Matt, you can't spend a 6th or a 7th on something. Man, come on, son. Give me Ardarius. If we'd have got Ardarius and damn Marvin over freaking Matt and whoever the hell we got, I'd had a much better draft. Your whole 3rd round would be forgiven if you'd have walked away with some of your favorite guys in the 7th and the 6th round. But a motherfucker named Cheeseman got to go first. My bad, Jeff. I'm listening to you.
You done with the Cheeseman thing? It cracked me up when Cheeseman got drafted. Just cracked me up.
So is his name Cheeseman, or is it some dumb shit like Cheeseman or something?
I think it's Cheese. I do think it's Cheeseman. But it's Cheese Guy. Dial Chamberlain, Super Chat, I appreciate you. If 7 guys make this team, assuming the roster, who gets stashed on the practice squad? The rest of them.
All of them. All the motherfuckers.
The rest of them, unless you decide this dude sucks or somebody else in the league is like, oh, you waived him? We'll take him. But the rest of them would be ideally.
Jeez, man. I don't know. What else you got, Jeff? You got let me check.
No, I got nothing else. Literally nothing else. Nothing else at all.
The best name in the draft is Boss Man Fat. Somebody called Cheeseman Fat, and I just had a good little laugh at that. So anyway, Jeff got to go take a shit, and he's gonna get tickets for his Hollywood friends to go to a concert or whatever. We really appreciate y'all for being part of this process, man. Shouts out to Juice Jones dropping the deuce. It's been a long, tiring process. Me and Jeff have talked about this. I told my audience already. I don't know if you told yours, Jeff, but me and Jeff have talked about continuing Scoutkast throughout the season or whatever, because I think I'm pretty cool at the camp takes and the regular season takes and all that. So me and Jeff are going to be doing regular season things, and we'll bring Scoutkast back in January. So it's going to be an all year round thing. I don't know if we call this thing something different in the regular season, but me and Jeff will be friends all year. Go ahead, sir.
We'll be friends. It'll be lovely. Clayton, Super Chat, was there an option better than Ball on your board? I'd have to go back and look. But you were at what? When was Ball taken? One after 138, whatever the next pick was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marvin Wilson was on the board. So was Ardarius Washington.
Oh, they was on the board the whole time, man. Shouts out to Paul. He says, how was Pecan Lodge? They have great peach cobbler, sir.
Did you go to Pecan Lodge?
Fucking ran with the goddamn Pecan Lodge, dog.
Did you have to stand in line and shit?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's good barbecue.
Yeah. 100%, Mr. Wolf. The goddamn peach cobbler, like I said, is incredible. Melvin Groom Drop 5 says, the fact that Ardarius didn't get drafted as a Ravens fans, thank you. Don't fucking thank me. Thank the goofy ass GMs that ain't drafting him.
Hey, it's going to sound much better when I do his Hall of Fame induction to say he was undrafted than say he went in the 5th or 6th round. It's going to sound more impressive. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you to Henry Chapman, who's in the Super Chat and didn't ask a question, but he tipped me in euros. So that's badass.
For the love. And Derek Russell dropped the 5, says Terrence Newman, I guess that's Anthony Henry, combo was great. Seems like we got two Anthony Henrys in the draft and also 2 Newmans with ball skills. That's weird. That's a long time to like compare 2 players, but I do think Boss Man Fat and Trevon Diggs will be great together. Jeff, any closing words, sir?
My closing. British pounds, Henry. I apologize. British pounds. Hello. There's too small for this scheme. Quinn likes 6'2" DBs if he can find them. No, here's the thing. Hold on, because I was about to just sign off. Let me tell you about the thing, about the scheme, about the thing.
Talk your shit, King.
Do they want length everywhere they can get it? Yes, as long as the athleticism and the instincts are there as well, because the goal of a player is to eliminate portions of the field. That's the goal. Be as big and long as you can and as fast and quick as you can to eliminate as many parts of the field as you can. So on the outside, would they like him to have length and reach for that deep third? Yep. For the deep safety, does he have to have that? Not as much, because the deep safety doesn't have the same scenario coming off the line of scrimmage. Earl Thomas was his deep man. He was 5'10", okay? Ardarius Washington could have done this shit, and it hurts my heart. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. Because when Marvin Wilson and Ardarius Washington play each other in the AFC Championship game with the Ravens and the Browns, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to be happy. And that's all I have. Dante said, he's slow, Jeff. Let it go. I never let anything go. If I think a good dude can play football, I'll hold that shit till I die. He might not make the team, and I'll just say they didn't give him a chance because he was too small. That's what I'll say. But other than that, I just want to tell everybody that you have no idea what anybody's going through, so be cool to everybody and that I love you. That's it.
Hold it down for the Doski, Woski, the Peasky, Weesky. Hey, also, too, Captain Trade Down and Right Brick on My Brick happened, so I just want